Okay, how's everybody doing on this fantastic morning? We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and some other assets. So get your seatbelt on, buckle up. Let's see what we can do. See if we can find any price action setups before the New York Open this morning. It has been a little bit of a slow few weeks in the FX market, but let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. First and foremost, obviously, we had a massive down close week last week, and until you break out above that high or this low, you are essentially range bound. All right. So when you understand that when you're taking trades in between this white line and this white line, you're basically taking a trade in the middle of a range. Now, if you remember, or Saturday's video, I said this, but I'm going to say it again because it's important. When we put in this big down close candle, a big range candle like that, the liquidator, as I like to call them, it took 5 weeks before you took out either the high or the low. 5 weeks. And on the 5th week, you took out the low. So, I mean, there's time, right? There's time. You do not have to rush into a position. You can absolutely wait until you get a decent setup. So that's basically it. We're going to be looking for short side setups on Bitcoin at resistance areas, a little bit higher, more or less. I would like for it to at least test last week's low, not last week, but the week prior. I would love for that to be at least tested before I start looking for short side setups, because basically, it just would close up that gap of any price. All right, so back down to the daily. I will not start looking for bullish setups again on Bitcoin until we break above the daily down trend. So this green line here, we definitely need at least a daily close above that and another daily close above that to reinsure that that first daily close was not a trap. So yeah, that's what I'm waiting on for that before I start looking for bullish entries. Now this is that weekly low level right here. You can see that's when that wick occurred. What Bitcoin is struggling with right now currently is an 8-hour Heath level right there. Bing. That's where Bitcoin is finding its little bit of resistance for now. Will this level break or will this level hold? Well, this level was tested last night before I went to bed, and we're still there. Seeing how Bitcoin is climbing up, this does look. A lot of people will say that an ascending wedge like this is usually a bearish pattern, and typically it is. Not always, but more or less. I'd say it's probably a little bit more than 50% of the time it will break out down to the bearish side. But this is an hourly chart, right? Intraday time frames you don't really want to hold the same level of, I guess, if you're trading patterns, for instance, you don't want to put the same weight on your intraday patterns as you do on your daily patterns. So it looks like Bitcoin's going to break out to me. It looks like it's going to break out above this level. We have an hourly level there, so we know this is the 8-hour Heath level. So we'll go ahead and mark that up so that way we know what it is. So we can keep an eye on that beast. Let's put a little space in between there. There we go. And we know this is that weekly low. So we'll just call it WL for weekly low. That way we know about where we stand. Now you can see there is an hourly Heath level right there, an hourly supply zone. The thing of it is this was where I was looking for my target. Once we get up into this price, or even where we are, I'm no longer looking for that much more of a bounce. So Saturday when I put out the video, I basically said that I was looking for a bounce up to 53K. What I should have said was I'm looking for a bounce up to 51 to 53K. Because there is also the 50% retracement on that weekly range. So let me pull this out real quick and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this weekly range here, you go down, you put it to that. You can see, let's get rid of this just for a second. I can always throw it back up there. You can see that this is your 618 retracement of this weekly range, and then this is your 50% retracement. So this is the midpoint of this weekly candles range, and you can see that we are trading above the midpoint for now. You got 5 hours left on this 8-hour close, but you did close above it yesterday, so obviously I'm going to be looking for resistance a little bit higher, right around the 618. That I definitely want it to test that prior week's low before I start to look for shorts. Because once you get up into this region, the 53, 52.8 or 53.6 area in this little block of price, you can potentially see some resistance. Now, obviously, I don't want that, as I am long Bitcoin on my spot account. And when I trade, I'm trading with the inverse swap contract. So essentially what I'm doing is, give me 1 second. I am basically as bullish as one can get, because I'm using Bitcoin to accumulate more Bitcoin. Whether I'm taking a short or a long, I'm being paid, or if I take a losing trade, I am losing Bitcoin. All right. So basically what I'm doing is I'm long spot and I'm selling put options, which is as long as you can get. All right. It's as long as you can get. So I would much rather see Bitcoin go to $5 trillion, but we have to be realistic. All right. We have to be realistic. All of the models called the top in December. Is it possible that we've seen a top earlier? I mean, yeah, it is. And the reason for that is because of the 6.2% inflation rate that we've seen. That's a massive print, guys. That's the highest inflation level we've seen in 20 years. 20 years. So a lot of people are saying that, with Omicron and everything else, that they're probably going to print again. Well, technically, they can't. I mean, they can if they want to devalue the dollar down to nothing. But with these inflation rates right now, if they start printing again, then you're probably going to see something like runaway inflation to the point to where they can't catch it. So I am still on the side that I do believe that they are still going to hike. The bad jobs number last Friday was going to let us know the speed at which they were going to start to hike, right? Or taper, I should say. They're not going to start hiking rates until 2022, but the taper, they're going to start to taper. So basically, we were looking for a good jobs number that would tell the Fed that everything looks good. Let's go ahead and start the taper now. But we got a bad jobs number. So basically, they haven't said anything. We will know on the next Fed meeting. And I believe that's December. I don't know the exact date. Maybe somebody in the chat can hook us up with the exact date. I could go look for it real quick. But I do know it's in December. And that meeting will be very, very, very important, as that's going to set the tone for the brand new year, 2022. And it's right around the corner. Now, there is another Bitcoin model. There's a lot of different Bitcoin models out there. You got the 4-year cycle. There's tons of them, right? Tons and tons and tons. Lengthening cycles, you name it. Basically, if it's not the 4-year market cycle, then uber bullish people are going to start talking about, well, maybe it is lengthening cycles. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. This is why I choose to trade intraday and intra-week ranges. It's just so much easier and less stressful, but that's just where my edge is. As of right now, it does look like Bitcoin is trying to put in a top. This is a pretty big move. It's over 20% down off the highs, which in the norm, it's 38%. You had a 38% drop. In normal stock markets, S&P 500 and all that stuff, a 20% decline is where they start to say that you're in bear market territory. We know that that's not the case on Bitcoin, because we've seen Bitcoin make 40 and 50% drops and then go on to make all-time highs. So you can't really put a bear market. You can't really say when the bear market is on Bitcoin, because we've never had an asset like Bitcoin. We've never had something that could drop like 50% in the span of like 3 weeks and then a month later be trading at all-time highs. It's insane. But that's where Bitcoin gets that's why people like to invest in it, for massive gains. But right now, Bitcoin is stalling. So what I'm looking for this week is an inside week candle. I'm looking for this candle to close anywhere between, the open of this candle and the low of this candle. I'm looking for it to close inside of this candle's range for at least a week. Now, if we trade up to the 618 retracement level and then instantly reject, and we're trading like we take out the low of this week, then Bitcoin's a lot weaker than we know, right? We do not want to see that. That basically would be like indicative of a bear market if you do something like that, right? 1 week of pullback and then boom, you get right back on track of falling. That's not what we want to see. What we want to see is we want to see Bitcoin trade inside of this weekly's range for a little while and then find support. Find support. We know Michael Saylor bought $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin at 59K. And we know that he bought $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin at 27K. So that brings his average, I just basically cut it in half. It might not be that, but his average cost basis is around $40,000. So we can see support. This could be the low before Bitcoin starts to go higher. But like I said, just to be on the safe side, wait for a daily close above this green trend line before you look for any bullish opportunities. For now, we're going to be looking for resistance to come in. And like I said, I want it to get at least up to that prior week's low, which is 53,327. That's there. That's also the 618, and that's also your first hourly Heath level. So that's where I'm going to be waiting for Bitcoin. That doesn't mean I got a limit sell order setting up there either. I need to see rejection, right? The trend is down. The near-term daily trend is down. So I need to see rejection. I need to see Bitcoin trade up into that and then show me a rejection. Then I will look for pullback areas to possibly get short, all right? If it just breaks out and continues higher, then, well, guess what? My spot long position is doing good still. So there's no need to rush. All right, let's go look at Ethereum real quick. It's going to be kind of a quicker session. I know I was late getting started this morning, guys, so I apologize about that. That's all good. All right, so here we go, Mr. Ethereum. So as Bitcoin goes, so do the rest of these assets, most of them. You can see Ethereum weekly range last week is not nearly as bearish as Bitcoin's. You have an essential doji here on this massive weekly range. So this doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad at all. And the fact that we're already trading above this candle's open, then Ethereum is different than Bitcoin. It's more structured to the bullish side of things. So I think that I would be careful if you're looking for new entries unless you know what you're doing and your risk is absolutely outlined. You know what you're going to lose if you're wrong. You're not taking big swings at this looking for $400,000 Ethereum. You're just essentially trading inside of the daily ranges. Then I say you're good, and you can start looking for bullish entries around 49 or 42.98. 42.98. So what that's going to look like is something like this. A bearish candle back down into that level and then a hold. Now your first 2-hour support level is right here, so you might not even get a test of that weekly level. It's already moving up. As you can see, that is that long trend line that Ethereum has kept price in. Remember, I said there has never been a weekly close below this trend line, and it's the same for Bitcoin. It's not exact, right? You can't make it exact. I've tried a million times, so I just basically have to let that wick go through it. But that's the only one. So this is the only time that you've traded even closely to going below it. Then you reversed, and then that's the start of it. You can see that it has been following that absolutely perfectly. And every single time you've gotten a bounce in or into that, every single time it's traded down into that trend line, you have received a bounce. Now, could it be the end? Right? Absolutely. The higher it goes, the more chances of exhaustion risk. If there's not buyers above $4,900, then it's going to fall. It's as simple as that. You have to assume that there isn't many buyers at this level. Now, if it starts to get up there and takes off, then obviously you've got a new bullish breakout on Ethereum, and there's no telling how far it can go. At that point, you will be setting in a nice short squeeze because everybody is essentially looking for this to be the end. You already have YouTubers calling a bear market on Bitcoin. I think it's a little early for that, but they could be right? A broken clock is right twice a day, guys. And in trading, it can only go up or down. So either they're going to be right or they're going to be wrong. They have a 50% chance of being right, always. All of them do, even me. So with that being said, nobody knows what price is going to do. Weekly resistance, where I start to think, maybe I could talk today. That would be fantastic. All right, let's try this again. So right there is the weekly resistance setting at 46.17 spot 02. So when we get up in there, I'm not looking for that to hold like on an hourly basis, but I am looking for that to hold on a weekly basis. If you get a weekly close above that, you're going to the moon. All right. That is it. And that would basically say that you have your bullish impulse phase, then you have your corrective phase. Now you're looking for a new bullish impulse phase or trading sideways up here. If it trades sideways at the highs, that's a very, very good sign. That means that you basically are getting demand at these higher prices. All right, so that's about it on the two majors. I will go back to Bitcoin, however, and show you that trend line just for anybody that's new here, guys. I know for a lot of you guys that's been following me for a long time, you've heard this stuff over and over again. I'm sure it gets a little old sometimes, but I do get new subscribers on a regular basis. So basically that's not it. Why doesn't that look right? Not really looking. Well, I guess that is right. So there you go. Here is the March sell-off in 2020 from the Wu Flu, the very first original breakout when everything got shut down. This is then. And you can see that since that time, with this trend line, you have not closed the weekly below this either. This is also why I was looking for a bounce on Bitcoin. Secondly, this 2-week resistance. All right, I've been talking about this resistance level ever since the day it was put in, the day we got the close. This has been our resistance level. All right, so there it is. I was looking for a pullback, but not like this, right? This liquidation candle, not looking for that. Thin liquidity and just a lot of selling, you'll get moves like this. Over leveraged longs, thin liquidity. So it can absolutely bounce. It can absolutely bounce. It can absolutely continue to make new all-time highs. So that's the level I've been waiting for, 48,802. I just can't get bullish until we at least get above this weekly's candle, right? I just can't do it. Something inside of my rules set will not allow it, right? Because it's just not safe. If you are taking bullish entries now, I mean, you're going to look at it like, well, you're losing a whole lot of money from 48K to 54K. That's a ton of money that you could be making if it is indeed a long. I agree, right? But you're never going to do that. That's never going to be a profitable strategy. Picking bottoms and picking tops. You might get lucky and hit one or two, but it's not going to be profitable over time. If you have rules, then you can basically tweak your strategy to make it profitable. So I must wait on that. You also have daily support here. So that's going to be a good spot to potentially see some more resistance. But all in all, Bitcoin looks pretty good. Yesterday was a nice bullish day. Took out the low of your previous daily candle. So you do have a bullish engulfing. That's fantastic. You are getting continuation off of that, which is, typical. That's typical. So so far it's looking good, right? Looking fantastic. And then let's go look at some FX pairs real quick because I have not looked at anything this morning. So you guys are going to be with me for this. I want my Forex. And we'll just give it a quick scan. Let's go check out Aussie CAD. What does Aussie CAD look like? Looks terrible. It's at the lows. I don't really like shorting stuff like this either. But it's green on the day. So let's go and see what we got going on intraday. Yeah, that's a lot of momentum coming in. It's coming in hot. So yeah, probably not going to mess with that because I just don't see much juice left on this lemon to squeeze. DXY is only up 0.1%. So it's not really moving. Euros are. Pound, yen. Nasty, nasty, nasty. All right, so let's go ahead and get our daily open outlined. That's going to be there. Would I take a bullish entry on this? As long as I don't close an hourly below that 150 spot 542, it's bearish, right? The downtrend is here on this thing. You're below the 50 on the RSI daily. RSI, you're below the 50, which indicates that the bears are in control of this asset on the longer time frame. And you are below all of your major moving averages, being the 21, the 50, the 100, the 120, and the 200. All right, you're below all of those. So, yeah, bounces in order, and that's what you're getting today. It looks like that daily Heath level is what caught price. Let me get this off. Thank you. So this daily Heath level right there seems to be the culprit. So we'll go back into intraday price and see what happened. Well, you didn't get a full-on test of it either. And you got nice and above all these, this swing high and this swing high. So any stops that were resting up here, this was on December the 2nd. So 5 days ago, you just took out the liquidity to the buy side. So that would have been the higher probable trade, looking for bullish entries, targeting this line here. That would have happened last night, unfortunately. So right now, just wait and see what happens. 150.542. If you get an hourly close below that and hourly support, which is there, then you're not looking to trade this asset. Not looking to trade this asset. Because I don't know how much of a move you're going to get to the downside. And then your stop would have to be all the way up here at the daily high. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I guess you could pick stop over an hourly high, but it's just not my style. Right, I like things to be up a little bit and then slowly pull back down into the middle of the range. This way, I can look for bullish entries targeting the daily high, or if it's moving down, I'm looking to target daily lows for my target, my profit objective. And NZD Swissy, you're trading pretty close around the open. Right there. So you are getting a resistant or a support hold support. Then you got this. If you get an hourly close above this candle, then you're going to be looking for bullish entries, because this is going to be a trap. This is going to be a bear trap. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be 100%. It's going to work if you take a bullish entry. And it's only 12 pips to the daily high. So that's not something I would trade anyways. Also, this is in a downtrend, massive one. So basically, you're trying to buy heavy selling into heavy selling. There's the daily Heath level, and then there is old support. So that's where you're getting the bounce from. I guess if you took the entry, you could target daily res. Let's go up here and see what we got on the hourly. Oh, goodness gracious. If we target daily res, what would that give us? All right, so if you target daily res, it'd be about 22 pips. So I guess you could do that. There's an hourly Heath level right there that's going to be trouble, or it's probably going to give you some trouble. So you got tons of resistance up here. But like I said, also, you need that close above this candle's wick high. You got to have a close above the high to basically say that this was just a bear trap. Because if you don't get that close above the high, next area you're testing is back down to 62,498, right? And then potentially breaking down. So we got to get that close above. Then we can look for a pullback, potential longs. And that's pretty much it. I mean, USD JPY and USD Mexican are both in decent positions. USD JPY. I rarely trade USD Mexican peso or like any of these pairs. The Hungarian forint, all these things. I rarely trade them. Every now and then I'll trade against the Chinese yuan because it's closer to like what a normal Forex pair. When you start trading things like this, then you got to figure out what your stop loss is going to be. It's going to be like 350 pips. It's insane. It's just insane. So I just leave it alone. All right, so this is your daily open. You're well above it. You're coming into hourly res. Old hourly res. So we'll see if this turns into potential support. I do like it. It is coming in hot, but we do need a pullback if we're going to get bullish, right? Next bullish target will be all the way up there. Wow. Daily high is not very far away, but the next bullish target is up there. And that's a good 33 pips. Let's see where the daily high is, because this is potentially where I want to start taking profits. And that's 19 pips. So, I mean, it's close enough to potentially take a long. USD JPY, we'll throw that baby on watch. Let's throw this one up there. Let's get rid of all these because these are not on watch any longer. All right. Always. Bitcoin's always on watch. All right. That's pretty much it. So we're going to wait to see if USDJPY holds support here. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this morning? Rev V says just buy. Not a bad idea. Yo, smash that like. Yes, that would be fantastic if you guys could do that. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good mornings. I was 2 months in his Patreon group, and since then I'm profitable. That's so cool. Yeah, awesome, Oliver. I'm glad I was able to help you, my friend. It's fantastic. That is the goal, to help everybody. Was just hoping you'd be doing this. Hourly ETH level is my target. I am long ski, says Wes. I already took profits, though. Nice work. Still have dodgy internet? Yes, I do. Still have dodgy internet. It's crap internet. They said around April I should be receiving the dish. When I get that, then the channel is going to go into some different... Basically, the schedule is going to change drastically. There won't be no more early morning sessions. We'll be doing them at normal times. Probably after the New York Open, though. Looks like replacing the May drop and HTF, says Mr. Epic. Where can we short it? Yeah, at least up at that weekly area. That's where you want to start looking. Equity still have some res ahead, but looking like they want to recover. SPX had a 5.32% correction. I think the lockdown fears behind the market. Now it's just the Fed. Yeah. I don't think the market's assuming any lockdowns, or at least not in this country anyways. Lockdowns right now would be a terrible idea because of supply chain issues. We have massive supply chain issues. I ordered let's just use this as an example. I ordered a drone a month ago. The last UFC fight on that day, UFC 268, I think it was, Covington versus Usman versus Covington, I should say. On that day, I bought a drone. I still haven't received it. And we're about to see another UFC this Saturday. So, it's supply chain issues, man. That's all I can say about that. He said he wants to see how it reacts against the previous week's low. Yes, exactly, Amir, exactly. You are on log, is that intentional? Yeah. Basically, I like to look at Bitcoin and just Bitcoin and other cryptos on log. On the FX market, log doesn't do anything because FX barely moves, right? If you get a 0.5% move in FX, that's typically a decent move. We've seen a 3% move on Aussie Yen last Friday, or the Friday that was terrible. So that, just to put things into perspective, it was moving. But yeah, I know I'm on log. That trend line on Bitcoin will not work off of log. I guess I should have said that. Right? If we go back out, that longer term trend line here, if you take log off, it does not work. Oh, wait a minute. It actually does work. Wow. You got to bounce there. So you're not even into it off log. But on log, boop, it's like that. You get multiple touches. So yeah, I understand. It's on log. K4 Liberty says, thank you for the live stream. You are welcome, my friend. Nice BTC analysis, Heath. Have a nice day. You have a nice day as well, Amir. Thank you for being here, my friend. K4 Liberty says, don't forget to hit the likes. Likes smashed. How will Evergrande crash impact the market, you think? Thanks. All right, let's go check it out. Let's go see what the latest on Evergrande is. What I read the other day, it doesn't seem like it's going to cause anything. But we'll give it a quick read. This is the 7th. Evergrande's epic restructuring puts onus to limit fallout. So it looks like they're going to try to do everything to basically not cause a market crash. I understand that there are a lot of U.S. companies that holds this terrible debt on their books. I think there's like 4. I did a video on it, I brought it up in a video a while back when it first started happening. And there's like 4 big U.S. investment banks that has this stuff on their books. I just don't know, right? I don't think it's going to cause a crash. I don't think they're going to be bailed out either. Something's going to happen, right? It's restructuring. So I know that our last article I read, they said that they weren't going to be able to basically pay off their debtors in a specific amount of time. So that's what that article was talking about. But either way, I haven't read anything that says market's going to crash because of Evergrande. If anything, it's going to hurt China's housing market. I don't think our housing market has, if they have anything to do with our housing market or how much of our housing do they own, basically stuff like that. But there you go. You can basically look it up on Google, find any. If you don't have access to Bloomberg, you can get it from basically any other news source out there. I think their last payment is 28th December. If they fail, I wonder what will happen with the whole market. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. That's one of those things. It's impossible to know what's going to happen in the future. It's not looking good. I do know that their debt obligations, they are not able to meet within a specific deadline. So what's going to happen then? Well, we don't know. Somebody's going to step in. Somebody has to step in. I doubt they let China's housing market just crash. Good morning. He thoughts on gold. Let's go look at it. Let's go to XAU. All right, XAU USD. So basically, we got a weekly close at the trend line we did not want to see falter, and it's faltering. Now, to be fair, you did close above it, but you closed above weekly support. Now, this weekly range, you're heading lower. So our question would be, since it's only Tuesday, is this thing getting ready to turn around to go back up and test the high, right? See if it's going to go back up and test the high, because there's a good chance that weekly range expands to the upside. Not a good chance. There's a 50-50 chance, but you know what I'm saying. It's playing around this trend line. It's definitely doing that. So here's your dailies. You can see there that it's struggling around in here. There is a Heath level right up there. So, I mean, there's a ton of resistance here, but it looks like there's a ton of support as well. The support is coming from this demand right there. Right there. That's your demand zone. So a daily close below that, and you're going down to test the next one. And then support. The daily doesn't look that great. It's a small daily range. You're trading inside of yesterday's candle. Yesterday's candle was a tiny daily range as well. So what I would potentially be looking for if I was looking to day trade gold is I would be looking for this thing to bounce, find support, and go to the upside. It looks like it's trying. And if the sellers wanted to push it down, see, when you can have an exhaustion risk on the sell side as well. It's not just exhaustion to the upside. You can have exhaustion to the downside. You can run out of sellers, or the selling gets less aggressive, and the lower price goes, the more buyers step in, right? So potentially you're going to see a bullish bounce. I would probably be more looking to the bullish side today. Obviously, I could be wrong, but that's where I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a new daily high. 1784 would be my target. This market opens 1 hour after regular FX. So it looks like this is your open on this, 1778.59. So any push back down there, if you get a third wick down there, I might look to buy that. And then target would be daily high. But if it does break out, you can see that this range is big. I mean, it looks similar to Bitcoin. It had a big crash, and then it's been basically trading sideways. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but it's sideways. It's definitely sideways. But I'd be leaning more bullish than bearish. Oh, goodness. Where was I at? There it is. Perfect. Also, can we take a look at ADA if you get a chance? Cheers. Yeah. Absolutely. ADA, USD. You didn't say USDT, so I'm assuming you just want to look at it. So I'll take a look at it on the Coinbase data feed. Man, it looks bad, don't it? No, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I want to do this. It's looking rough. Man, ADA come off very, very hard. It's down. Man, it hit 59% to the downside. Man, see, this is the thing, right? Let's go get more data. This is the thing, guys. Let's go look at it on FinX. This is the thing. When you have multiple 50% drops at the highs, it starts to smell more and more like this potential bull market is over or running out of steam. I mean, we had one here, right? A big 60 or 70% drop. And then the news came out with the B Word podcast that Elon Musk was indeed bullish on Bitcoin. Well, we know he is because he holds $1.9 billion worth. So, or his company, Tesla. So once he came on the B Word podcast with Jack Dorsey, boom, it had a nice run to the upside. These things usually go in the same direction as Bitcoin because of market makers, right? Liquidity providers. They have their hands in all these pies. So when one moves one way, they typically all follow suit. Not all of them. You will have outliers, but it came off pretty hard. So moving forward, I mean, basically you're going to have to see if this holds support. This was support there, and it did not hold. You got a daily close below it, but now you're bouncing again. So I would use this as the support, seeing how you haven't gotten a daily close below that yet. So that's your new support, one spot 3086. So as long as you're not closing dailies below that, a bounce is in order. Same thing with this. You're going to potentially see a bounce up into old support. This bearish candle here, once you broke down, you're going to see if that's going to hold as resistance. Now, if you get one daily close above the resistance, don't get too cocky. Don't get too bullish, because you can absolutely see the next day be a trap. Boom. Because markets do like to do that. They like to give false signals a lot of the times. So if you do get a bullish close above that and you're looking for the next bullish target, which would be this candle here, so you're in this zone. If you get a break and close above here, you're going to look for support to hold. Then your bullish target would be that swing high. But don't get too cocky. Make sure that this holds support on at least a 4-hour closing basis. So I would want to see a daily close above 153. Then I want to see a 4-hour close, a retest of this level, a wick through it, and then a close back above it on at least a 4-hour time frame before I'd look for bullish entries. Just understand that you're taking bullish entries against the trend. The trend is obviously down. This is a daily chart. The trend has been down since September the 2nd. So you are in a daily downtrend. I guess one could say a weekly downtrend even on this thing. It's been going lower for many, many weeks. Is it possible that you have found support? Absolutely. There is old weekly support. You got one close below it, and then you immediately, within 3 weeks, were back above the area. So you can look at this to be potential support, and it is currently holding price. And then obviously that daily level. Your next support level is here. You can see on the blow off candle or the liquidator candle. You tested that weekly support, and that is where you got your bounce from. So same thing. You're already up at this weekly candle's low. And if I had to take a wild guess, I would assume that you're just now at it. I was going to say just a little above it, but you're just now at it, the 50% retracement or the midpoint. So if it's going to be real weak and the bear market has started, it should turn around here pretty soon. But I'm not looking for that. Not yet, but we'll see what happens. It is struggling. Got a DEX Sunday swap. It should help 88 price, which has been dumping. Gotcha. Yeah, it's been dumping bad. So it might hold support here. It's at an area of support, possibly. Silver not doing much in the light of all. Yeah, you would think that these, your gold and your silvers would be doing a lot better than they are because of inflation. These are usually safe trades, and they still can. This first initial push lower can absolutely just be a trap. It could be absolutely just, I mean, investors, they like to buy low and sell high. So if they are going to look at this as a safety measure for inflation, then it's the lower it goes, the more it looks attractive. So you're probably going to see support pretty soon on gold and silver. The problem was the dollar strength. If the market crashes, though, typically everything comes off. Everything. If you remember back in March 2020, nothing was safe from that. Everything got absolutely wrecked except bonds. Still short ETH from 47.17, 1/3 of the position. Nice. Does Euro NZD look like a possible buy on the daily? NZD, let's go look at it. No, it does not. I mean, it's coming into a level. No, I'm trying to get rid of that and that. All right, so you're definitely into a demand zone. But I typically don't like to buy falling knives, which is what you're doing if you try to buy it right now. So on the intraday, I want to see a couple hour closes back above this. But you're definitely coming off, right? Your daily open is way up here. So it's not a short either. It's just, I mean, if you're going to take it as a swing trade, that's different, right? Because you can get a bigger stop, a wider stop, potentially. But yeah, it is definitely at a possible area of demand. It doesn't mean that level will hold, guys. Just because you find the support or supply and demand zones on the charts, it doesn't mean price will hold. We still have to let price show us. Let it show us what is support and resistance. But yeah, it is at an area to watch for sure. If you just slice right through there and you come back down and test this support, then it's going to look like not so much of a buy. I mean, it is in a nice little uptrend. It's because of the New Zealand weakness, because Euro was getting spanked a long time too. The dollar came off, so you got bullish Euro and bearish NZD, and that's why this thing got such a big pop. But keep it on watch, right? Keep it on watch. If you want to take a swing trade on it and you want to get your stop down below this daily low, then yeah, as long as it's not closing at least 4-hour candles below that level, might be okay. You got a 4-hour level right there as well. So yeah, might be a good area to kind of keep a watch on. It's making this toppy formation, right? Your 3-drive topping formation. Your pullbacks are getting vicious and your highs are not getting much better. I mean, this was a decent one, but now you're right back testing the range again. If anything, I would probably be looking for this thing to roll over, make a lower high, and then look for that new downtrend to form. 47.17 is your short position on ETH. Let's go look at it. Nice. You got a pretty decent entry on that. 47.17. It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I hope you took profits like I did, right? When this not crash, but when that liquidator came in, I took profits on the move down. I wish I wouldn't have, because then you got that real big 4-hour push lower. But by the time I woke up anyways, it was back into the middle of that range, so I didn't miss a whole lot of money is what I'm saying by taking profits. What are good bonds to invest in? Well, let's see here. The T-note futures are getting, not really doing nothing. But they're on the lows. But this thing, this is like junk, right? No, it ain't. All right. And then you got your US 10-year. This is what people basically, this thing's been getting crushed too. Don't even have data for it over here. What's that? It's into resistance. And this is the yield, so it's coming off pretty good. TLT. Maybe TLT looks good. You did get that breakout. So you're coming back in to test support. Pre-market, you are trading under support. This is going to be support. Right? Now this one as well. So you got two potential areas of support. And you are pre-market trading below that. Next area of potential support is going to be 150, 159. So maybe in there. If you get all the way back down here, then this looks like a trap to me, and I wouldn't look to buy it. But I don't even know if you mean for like longer term. But these are your basic bonds, interest rates, and all that stuff. All right. TNX, ZN1, that's the future. TLT is a stock. This you can buy. It's an ETF. US 10-year, I'm not exactly sure how you'd go about buying that. But yeah. I just look at the chart and see whatever one looks attractive. Which one's at support, right? If you're doing it to invest, then look for like a weekly level, like a weekly support or a monthly even. H bar. Yeah, let's go take a look at it. You didn't say which one. Let's go look at it on KuCoin. KuCoin. Nah, I don't like that. It doesn't have enough data. We'll just look at it on Binance. Well, it's definitely coming in. Man, everything got crushed, didn't it? Well, let's get rid of these so we can start new. So, chances of you coming all the way back down to that and checking that low again, it's going to be a while anyways. It's not going to happen in a day or two. I would say it'd probably take about 5 or 6 days for it to get back down there, unless something bad happens and causes a new sell-off. But just regular, in normal trading conditions, it's going to take a long time to get back down there. If you're looking for bullish entries or bullish opportunities, man, you're going to have to wait. You need it to get up in here and then come back in for a pullback. As of right now, it's going to struggle against that. But we need it above that so it can come back in and retest it for potential support. You did take out the high of this candle. So we'll see. I don't like buying any of these things. If you want to be on the safe side is to take your little trend line and draw it like so, like thus, and then wait for that to get a break above. Boom. Then you could potentially look for pullback long entries. But until that happens, you're trying to basically buy a falling knife. Now, you do want to buy low and sell high. So, yeah, I can see why people are wanting to buy these things now. But the question is the bear market starting? That's the question. That's the question on everybody's minds. So if it is starting, then you want to wait for bear market lows to buy for those hodls, right? Bear market lows. Because a lot of these things, especially the ones that are up like tens of thousands of percents, they're going to get smited hard. I mean, this thing, if you go from swing low to swing high, 5,900%. Yeah. It's at 29 cents. So just be careful. I mean, it's an asset that you can buy a ton of too, right? Because it's so cheap. So you can take a $1,000 position on this, would be a pretty big mover. Would be moving quickly, especially if you lever it up. Just be careful. Just be careful. I would keep an eye on Bitcoin because it's going to basically do what this is going to do, whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin continues to head lower, these things will too. I am looking for resistance, so I'm definitely looking to position myself short, but just a little bit higher. All right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up. Matic looking very strong. Thank you. Did I miss the AUD carts? I didn't look at it. I'll go look at it real quick, and that'll have to be my last one. Aussie yen. Nice, big, strong, bullish day. It is coming into a potential supply zone. They're at 87.23. But the thing is it's a very strong, bullish day. So you're stepping in front of a train to try to take the short. You are getting a bearish reaction here. So now what I would be watching is I would be watching 86.65 for the short, right? If you get an hourly close above 86.6, well, I said 665, but it's 667. Here, let me get rid of that, and I'll give you the exact price. Oh, look at that, 666. So 86.6, we'll just call it 80.67, round it up, 80.67. If you get an hourly close above that, you're not looking to short it because it's probably going to go higher. If you climb up here and then it fails, then you could potentially take a short. Next area of support's all the way down to 81.15. So, I mean, that's a pretty big move. I just don't see that happening. Is it possible? It absolutely is. So watch 80.67 as resistance. As resistance. The daily Heath level is where exactly? All right, so beautiful. Those are your two areas you do not want price to get above. So watch it on the closing basis, 80.67. It's going up strong today. And remember, these things are stretched out to the downside. So they are all stretched out pretty hard. Look at that move, man. So some chop, bounces up and down. Choppiness is probably in order for a little while. It's the start of the year is going to be fantastic trading, right? Because a lot of portfolio rebalancing is going to be taking place this month. So you're going to see crazy swings both directions. Markets are going to continue to be choppy and indecisive. So you're going to have to make sure that you're on your A game in this kind of trading environment, right? But that's what I would watch for potential resistance. If you're looking for a short, I definitely wouldn't buy it because it's at the highs, daily highs. So yeah. All right, guys, with that being said, I'm sorry I have to wrap it up. We will see you on Thursday morning, same time, same channel, same place. We will see you then. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section after YouTube gets done doing its thing. And I always try to answer every question. So with that being said, you guys make sure you trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.